So I thought I'd just take this opportunity to talk to myself so that I can watch it and see if I think I'm a crazy person or not. So here goes, business in Nicaragua. It seems to me that business anywhere has five or so major flaws that can be totally avoidable. And most people do avoid them after they've made them. So if you've done 4 or 5 businesses and you've found that none of them have really hit it out of the park, or maybe even they've just flat out failed, you can usually find one of these 5 things and say, that was the reason for that one, that was the reason for that one. So what I'm trying to do in Nicaragua, since it's there's so many advantages, but often those same advantages are disadvantages here. One of the biggest advantages is the cost of labor. A full-time employee to run a shop or something can be between $300 and $400 a month. Whereas in Canada, that's $3,000 and $5,000 a month. So it's a big difference. But that advantage is also a disadvantage in that the average Canadian that you'd be hiring at that price point has gone through high school and possibly a community college or a trade school or something, and has had some job experience with customer experience and that sort of thing. Whereas here, when you're hiring someone, they may not have any of that experience. So therefore, it's like you're kind of getting what you pay for, in that the person hasn't had any training or education to be able to adapt to that job description. So that is a plus and a double-edged sword. So what needed to be addressed here was one of the reasons that most businesses fail is that they don't have an operational handbook, like a user's manual. So what I've been playing around with for a long time is video training. I find when I add humor and video with a system and process for executing a particular task in a job description, that you watch it, it's entertaining and engaging, but with a little bit of humor, you tend to remember it, and then you tend to do it. So what I've found, my first business partner ever taught me that clarity is power. You get to clarity, and then you can really turn on the gas. So by writing a operational manual or job description with systems and process, by taking it to that next level and creating video where it clearly shows exactly what we're writing down that you're supposed to do, you can get to clarity. So we've made a system based on systems system and processes written out for each job description, and then put an online quiz on there too, so that somebody can actually watch the videos, read the manual, take the quiz. Once they get 100% on the quiz, emails you, and you go, all right, this guy has at least passed the quiz. And in order to pass the quiz, he must have watched the videos, so he must be pretty clear on what it is that the job is. And at that point, schedule an interview and go for personality and find character and honesty and that employee to onboard them. So that's how I'm able to address this double-edged sword of inexpensive labor here, is by giving them the tools to become a valuable employee and be able to operate. So that's one of the things, is the operational manual, filled with systems, processes, videos, and clearly explaining each one of the tasks in each job description, right from investment to return. So I call it dirt to cash, because I started doing this in the wine biz, so we start with dirt and finish with cash. The next thing is that market validation, which comes with a business plan. So writing business plans and reviewing them for years and years and years now, I found a program that I really like to use called Live Plan. If you haven't checked out Live Plan, it's a great way of writing business plans. And I write them now just to get to cash flow positive. I don't write them for all the hopes and dreams and potential sales and all this stuff. I just look at a business and say, what's the core product? And how many of those core products do we have to sell per day to have a successful business? And to me, a successful business is something that is cash flow positive, so that you can respond to the market and then increase, and go for the gold, baby. So writing a business plan to me is really showing who's doing what, when they're doing it, why they're doing it, where they're doing it, and then give you an idea if the business is going to work. Because if it isn't going to work, I want to know that before I start so that I don't start. So a business plan is one of the main reasons that businesses fail, is that they don't have one, or they wrote one that's just absolutely, whimsical, I guess is, I remember one of our first business plans for opening a winery. You have to have a business plan to get a wine license. So we copied a business plan from, I think it was UC Davis, on how to start a winery, and just changed the name and a few other things. And it was so far from what really happened. We had something like we were going to sell like 500 cases in the first year, and it seemed reasonable, like, yeah, that'll work. But from being a wine owner and a wine business operator, in your first year, if you sell 500 cases, you better have a really unfair advantage over the competition if that's what's going to happen. I'll tell you, we had a lot of luck in our first year, and I think we made it to 220 cases about. And I'm talking major luck, super luck that you couldn't even dream of we had. And we got to around 220 cases in the first year. So writing a business plan, and making sure that it's realistic in there. The balance statement is not a BS statement, it's a balance statement. So you should be able to make sense of it in the business plan. The next area that was, really important to me, because I've had businesses fail because of it. So we had the business plan. I've had businesses not work out because they didn't have a strong plan. The operational manual, because I didn't have systems and process. I was relying on people, and I hired great people. But what happened is, when those people left for various reasons, I was left with like, what was it that they did, and I didn't know, and those businesses fell apart when the people left. The third thing that is it's one of the top four for sure, is location. So I've found it really important to have that perfect location. And what I've also learned is that perfect location, when things you can't control, like say you're a gas station, classic one would be a hardware shop. You're a hardware shop and you open right across the street from someone like Home Depot. Now, Home Depot has millions of dollars worth of marketing budget that they're spending each and every year to drive traffic to that location. And when Home Depot, you're parked right across the street and you're killing it, you're getting all the extra traffic. When they don't have something, all their customers are coming over to you. You got better customer service, maybe your logo looks cooler, this, that, and the other, and things are going awesome. And then Home Depot decides, you know what, this isn't making us enough money, we're going to close that branch. They close the branch. Now you're sitting there by yourself, and you're not getting the value of their marketing power and everything, and your business starts to suffer. So what I'm getting at is that even if you get a knockout perfect location, when the parameters that you're playing outside of what you can control change, that's hosed me a couple times. So that's why I'm so into movable structures, especially here in Nicaragua. In Nicaragua, there's so many advantages and so many good reasons to do business here. There are things that you can't control that can change. Events that happen here can knock your business out for a period of time. And if you can't weather the storm, then you kind of lose what your investment might have been, right? So I've seen it happen many times where people will rent a place and do all kinds of leasehold improvements, thousands of dollars, tens of thousands of dollars of leasehold improvements, and then some outside circumstance changes that they can't control, and the business goes under, and they lose all that leasehold improvement. Whereas what I've found is, man, can there be a micro version of a business that can be collapsible, so that if the market changes or if you need to move locations, that hardware shop closes right across the street and you're like, all right, let's go move next to the other hardware shop, or whatever the plan may be. Having that option to be able to move is a huge advantage in business, especially in a market like Nicaragua, where it seems to rock and roll for about 4 years. It's like 4 years of everybody's groovy and everything's working really, really well, and then something may happen and then it's not working so well. So being able to pack up, put it on pause, move it to a new location, that's a big advantage, and that's available right here in Nicaragua. So that's one of the main things I've been working on. From building recording studios, so many. From when I think I was 21 is when we had our first limited liability corporation there in Huntington Beach, and we built our first recording studio, and then Long Beach, and then Hollywood, and then Colorado, and kept doing that. So I've been building like crazy, and building recording studios is different, like, because you're building something that creates an emotional attachment between the artist and the space so that they can create something amazing. And you're also dealing with acoustics and lighting. And you're really selling a space when you're building a recording studio, selling a space for an artist to create magic. So going from that, then building wineries. Wineries are like, some high-end stuff, and then beverage manufacturing, OSHA, like food requirements, safety, all that sort of stuff, massive machinery, RV parks, all sorts of stuff that I've been able to build. So now with this, and we've done the shipping container, and I now am seasoned enough in the shipping container business to know how expensive it is and how limiting it is. And it's something that seems like such a great idea, and I have done several. I've done some big, huge studios built out of shipping containers and glass walls and all the works, but that 8-foot deal, man, it's too tight. So getting into the 10-foot span makes such a world of difference. So we're making steel structures that go together like Lego, and inside with all the shelving and modular units that just move around so you can transform it into whatever shop you may want it to be. That's another thing is, say you're selling coffee and you find out that, man, the money's actually in the smoothie. Let's change to a smoothie business. It's not that hard to do with a modular sales structure that can be retrofitted, quickly and easily and efficiently. So we did the location, and making it movable is amazing. We did the business plan, so you can find out if you really think it's going to work and who's going to do what, when, where, and why. The operational plan, that's for really training. I don't like the word training, but it is. It's educating and empowering people to be amazing team members in your business. That's what it's really all about, and getting to clarity. And then the last one that people fail from all the time is not having a marketing plan. So marketing is definitely my favorite thing. Like, it's such a game of psychology, and it's such. So I once was a professor in a digital recording, an arts, it was called Center for Arts and Technology in British Columbia. And I would teach viral video marketing and audio for video and all these different programs. But I literally I'd get there on my bike. I was building a winery at the time, and I did this at night, and I sold my car to get the winery going and everything. And I was riding a bike there, and in the bathroom, I'd be changing out of my bike gear, because it's the winter in Canada, it's freezing, into my clothes for being the professor. And in there, I'd be downloading the curriculum and watching YouTube videos on how to market, basically. And I really got a killer education. That went on for 3 years. I did that. It was such an awesome experience. I mean, I'd literally learn everything I needed to, and then jump on stage in front of all these kids that were paying God knows how much money to be in this college, and then teach them about it. And and that's the same way I got in the wine business. I mean, I faked it until I made it. And then by the time I had to really know and perform, I was freaking kicking ass, man. You know, who else had 300-400 flashcards in the wine business? Who else, you know, like was faking it so hard that it's like cheating for a test. You know, you go ahead and you write it all on the bottom of your shoe and your arm or wherever you think you're gonna like, and then by the time you go take the test, you read the questions and you know the answers. So that's how I really learned the backbone of marketing as far as targeted marketing, Facebook, YouTube, where, you know, like running big campaigns and all that I've been doing for the last couple of years. I had I just had a good gut feeling on how to market, like how to emotionally attach people to a brand, and how to leverage existing networks, how to bring people together. That was something that I'd always been doing in the music industry and into the wine industry with wine trails and bringing, you know, leveraging networks. And once I started teaching this stuff, it was like gas on the fire, and I really learned how to leverage existing networks and build, really measure stuff, not with vanity, not like how many views, you know, although I did for a few, you know, we got like 4 or 5 million views on some videos and that felt cool. But more so I was interested in how do I leverage networks to translate them into sales? And then I look at sales instead of views or any of that social proof. And not that I wouldn't use social proof to get more sales, but it became more looking in percentage, and it even got down to how much time I spent doing it to the percentage of converted traffic. So it gets really freaking nerdy. And what I've done now is I've created a model that works in any place. It's so awesome, and it doesn't cost anything. I mean, it costs time, it costs execution. You know, you got to actually do it. But doing everything Nicaragua is a way of, I've kind of called it gratitude marketing. I make infomercials on businesses that are like-minded or in proximity to a business that I'm marketing. And as I make that infomercial, I do the best possible job I can for that company or that business, giving them as much value as possible. And then, you know, it's brought to you by the sponsor or the target business that I'm trying to promote as well. And in doing so, when somebody starts to search using SEO and all the other various ways of searching now online, and it's crazy now, it's so complex, it's insane. But by having videos on every possible business around the business that you want to promote, when people search any one of these businesses, they wind up getting funneled down into the business of your choice. So this marketing plan, it's like, that's the ninja sauce in there, but to make marketing work, it's two things, and they're almost the same. It's consistently, persistently producing engaging, entertaining content, distributing it to as many people as you can that want to watch it. Even the haters are the best. The guys who hate it, when they write, "Oh, I hate this," it's like, that's when you know you're doing a good job. So if you're out there marketing and you don't have any haters, you are not doing a good job yet. I mean, I've got statistics where it's like one hater is worth like 1,000 lovers out there. So go get some haters by persistently producing quality content and distributing it across all the platforms. So those are the 4 things that I packaged together that I'm really excited about sharing with people now, and being confident in saying, you know, not only is the investment now so much lower, the risk is mitigated. I think that's a word. I tried to sound fancy there. But the risk is lowered as much as I can possibly lower it at this point in my life. And I've been doing business now solid for 20 years. as an entrepreneur and working in different positions. So I've been a CEO. I've been the startup guy many times. I love the startup, and I now find Nicaragua to be a place of opportunity right now. And this is the moment when not all lights are green, but there's a green light in front, and it's saying, let's do this. So hopefully that long chat helps somebody out there. So if there's any way I can be of service, please hit me up. If not, watch this video again, and remember the 4. It's a business plan, a marketing plan, an operational manual, and location. And if you can make it movable, more power to you. Right on, that's everything I got to talk about today.